Hello everyone, my name is Daisy. I'm a animator and illustrator. I work with traditional and digital media. If you want to check out some of my work, go ahead and click the link below. I do have a coloring book on Amazon. It is out for you guys to purchase. So if you guys like to color, go ahead and check it out. And any of my other work, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and then just here on YouTube, I do some YouTube shorts. And I also do lives on TikToks of me sketching a page. So if you guys need some sketchbook help, then go ahead and check out the lives. They are from Wednesday through Fridays from 5 p.m. Pacific time all the way to 6 to 7 p.m. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check it out. The link is down below. In this animation that I'm doing for you guys today, it was originally a gouache painting, but I decided to animate it because I thought the story behind it was cute and also dark and humorous. But it's basically these little marshmallows. They dive into the hot chocolate because I don't know, people put marshmallows in hot chocolate, but they dive into the hot chocolate and they find it very warm and cozy, kind of like a jacuzzi. So they're in there, they are relaxing, but then one of them realizes that something is happening to them and they jump out. And when they jump out, they end up falling to their well, yeah, they no longer are alive anymore. But that's basically the story. And then the two marshmallows are around looking and are about to jump in. They sort of realize that he has passed away. But yeah, I thought it was humorous and dark at the same time and really cute as well. And it's been a while since I've done something like this, something that was a little bit humorous, cute, and dark, because usually that's what I enjoy reading. Um, like when it comes to like my manga stuff, and anime, I really enjoy those scenes. I don't know if you guys ever watch like the Hammy videos on like TikTok or Instagram. They are so dark, humorous, and yeah, that's kind of what I enjoyed to watch as well. So I wanted to make something like that for today. But yeah, this originally started as a gouache painting, and then I decided to actually animate it, and the animation took forever. And now let's get into our topic of the day. Basically, we're going to be discussing the struggles of 2D animation and the reality of it, and also the industry of 2D animation because it is wild how there are very few people that actually still do 2D animation. Um, but yeah, basically 2D animation, I got into it because of anime. I really loved anime and I loved the backgrounds and just the overall expressions of every scene and also the simplicity of the dialogue and how every scene was carried through backgrounds and the characters of their facial expressions and the pauses in between them. I thought, I don't know, there was just so much that I really enjoyed about 2D animation in anime. Not so much in the here in the West. Really, I never really fell in love with 2D animation here in the West. Even though I was so used to watching like 2D animation stuff as a child. But yeah, for some reason, I never thought um, it was as beautiful as when I saw anime or Japanese animation. And I think a lot of us in art school, that's how we fell in love with 2D animation was by watching anime. A lot of us did go to art school. Well, my art school at least. A lot of the students there, they did 2D animation because of anime. And that's how they got there. But yeah, that's just a little backstory. And then so I got into 2D animation and I decided to go to art school for 2D animation. It turns out my program was not designed for specifically 2D animation, but more of a little bit, a tiny weensy bit of 3D and more puppet and stop motion animation. That was sort of their thing. um, for the school that I went to, and that was PNC. So yeah, they were huge on stop motion stuff, but not really 2D animation stuff. And it was really hard at learning the basics. I think I would have been a little bit more successful with 2D stuff in the beginning if I had somebody that was more experienced as being a teacher and also more experience in the industry and the most recent industry. Yeah, but yeah, that's my little spiel of art school. And then the next thing was creating a portfolio. Creating a portfolio was something that takes a really long time and something that I just didn't have completed after graduating because the assignments that were assigned to us were so quick. They were like within like 1 week assignments or um, again, my program was just not designed for 2D animation. It was later on after my senior year, well, during my senior year, that's when things started to get rolling, and we had a new professor that took the lead of 2D stuff because I think they understood that the students wanted more 2D classes, and that's why they came to the NCA. So they decided to add more courses to 2D animation stuff. But by then, I was already almost gonna be out of college. But I did my best to learn as much as possible in art school. But it was a struggle trying to balance art school and my art and things that were happening outside of that personal life stuff. But yeah, I didn't really learn too much about 2D stuff until I got out of art school, and that's sort of when I started to go back into the basics between my senior year and outside of art school. So yeah, my animation wasn't that great straight out of art school, and there was so much learning that I still needed to do. Um, but yeah, here I am. Here we are animating. The biggest struggles when you're animating would be speed. You got to be really quick when you're animating, and you got to be really confident when you're animating stuff because if you're not fast and if you're not confident, then a lot of the times your animation is going to turn out very shaky or just not very smooth. It's going to look a little bit awkward. But yeah, confidence and speed is number one thing for animators. And then I would say the other struggle would be learning learning like the in-betweens of like what each one does, what each frame does to your drawing is also a bit of a learning curve. You got to really understand that. Otherwise, your animation is just going to look very stiff. I struggled a lot with that. My animation looked very, very stiff in the beginning when I first started off because I just, number one, took way too much time on a frame. And number two, I just really didn't understand like how to use those in between frames. And I also didn't understand like my keyframes and stuff. But yeah, those those things are a huge learning curve and somewhat of a struggle in the beginning. Some people get it down really easily. A lot of others, we take more time, but each each person is a little bit different. If you come back, if you're somebody who is already really good at drawing, you're gonna love 2D animation. And if you're not good at drawing, you're gonna really hate 2D animation because you gotta be good at drawing. Not with 3D stuff. You don't gotta be a good drawer with 3D stuff. But 2D animation, you gotta be good at drawing already. You have to have knowledge and skill of drawing. You have to come in already knowing sort of your vanishing points and perspective and all that stuff because you're gonna have to sort of animate in 2D, but you're gonna have to think that you're animating in a 3D space. So there's also that. And then the biggest health struggles with being a 2D animator. Number one, your eyes get strained so bad. You're looking at the screen for 12 hours a day, and the eyes start to hurt. So you got to take pauses in between, like 20 minutes, 20-minute, between 20 minutes. You got to take a break. Sorry, that sort of sounded weird. Um, and then the other thing would also be that your back, your neck, and your body just gets really tired, intense, and sore um, because you're sitting down for really long periods of time and you got to take breaks in between. So those are probably some really big struggles. And also your wrist. You guys have no idea, man, your wrist will hurt. In the beginning, you gotta do some exercises. You gotta um, do a little bit of warming up before you start animating and get started on your day of, sitting on the computer all day. So warm up, do some stretches, exercise a little bit for like 5 minutes, and then go ahead, sit down, get started on working on your computer. If you want to be a 2D animator, you definitely gotta love what you do and you gotta enjoy the struggles. You gotta enjoy the whole process of animation because number one, it's so slow, and number two, physically, mentally draining on you. It has huge impact on your health because of sleep and the physical of sitting down all day staring at the screen and running on coffee because trust me, you're gonna be so tired from animating. And then also, there are not very many jobs of animation, so looking for a job in 2D animation is kind of rough out there. I know the majority of people that I graduated with from art school still have yet to get a job in 2D animation, and a lot of them are just trying to build their portfolio or working a regular job and doing animation as a side thing for now. But yeah, animation is hard. It's not easy. If you guys haven't noticed yet, in the last decade there has been very few movies or films that have been out with 2D animation. Mostly everything now is done with 3D, visual effects stuff, and that's basically it. Also we have AI, so AI can literally do the job of a 2D animator, which kind of sad. Um, eh, but AI is still not that great and it still looks horrible. I can tell. I don't know. I feel like even with the untrained eye, you can sort of tell the wonkiness of AI stuff. But yeah, 2D animation slowly dying. Even though people really love 2D animation and love the look of it in films, they're definitely not going to be making many films in the future. And it's kind of the reason why 2D animators are starting to go independent and create their own studios and fund their own projects and sort of try to push it out there into the world as much as possible. And that is it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy my little animation.